Well, hello once again, fellow Star Trek fans. I got another little goodie to show you, Star Trek related, of course. This one is from Diamond Select. If you watch my videos, you see a couple videos ago I did the video for the Enterprise A, but it was the Gold Edition, the 40th anniversary. Unfortunately, I had to return that one. There was a problem with it. Something had spilled inside, and the ship was all sticky and gummy. And anyway, I present to you the NCC-1701-A. This one was released in 2015. This is Diamond Select. And of course, this is the Starship Legends, Star Trek the Original Series, and this is the Enterprise A. Those of you who remember, the Enterprise A was introduced at the end of the Voyage Home. Let's see, that was Star Trek IV, the Voyage Home. If you remember, Admiral Kirk had captured the Klingon ship. They had brought Mr. Spock back to Vulcan, and they had renamed the ship the Bounty, and they were headed back to Earth. That's when they found the distress signal from Earth, and there was a probe that was directing a signal towards Earth's oceans, and it was basically disrupting the atmosphere, and it was destroying the planet. They end up going back in time, and they bring back two humpback whales named George and Gracie. Well, to make a long story short, at the end, when they faced their charges for stealing the Enterprise from Star Trek III, when they went to recover Mr. Spock's body on Genesis, they faced disciplinary action, and Admiral Kirk was reduced in rank to captain and given a starship. That probably wasn't a punishment. Although they had just saved the Earth again, so how could you punish that? Anyway, at the end of the movie, Star Trek IV, they're on their way to their next assignment. And they're talking about whether they're going to get a freighter or they're going to get Excelsior. And once they go through the space dock, they're being brought, and Excelsior comes into view. But Excelsior drops away, and immediately your eyes are drawn to the Starship Enterprise NCC-1701-A, and that's when we're introduced at the very end of Star Trek IV, and that's when Captain Kirk says, "My friends, we've come home." They come full circle. And it's not until Star Trek V where we find out that the Enterprise A has a bunch of bugs in it, and they're fixing it, and Mr. Scott has his work cut out for him. But those of you may or may not know, the USS Enterprise A was originally the USS Yorktown, which was NCC 1717, I believe. This was not a brand new construction, because you figure they wouldn't have had time from the destruction of the Enterprise when they come home after the... Okay, let me get my timeline straight. When they go to Earth's past, they bring back the humpback whales, the Klingon ship. After they clear the signal for the probe leaves and Earth is saved, and they're introduced to the Enterprise A. So you can see that that wasn't built from scratch. That was, what they did was they took the USS Yorktown and they modified it, and they made it the USS Enterprise A. So we continue to see the A. It's like I said, it's introduced in Star Trek IV. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, we're introduced to Mr. Spock's half-brother. We find out that he's got a half-brother named Sybok. And they end up taking hostages on a planet called Nimbus 3. And the whole purpose of taking a starship is to go to the center of the galaxy to find the god Shakari. They end up going through the Great Barrier, and the Enterprise holds. They end up getting to the planet, and they end up finding a being that Sybok believes to be the god of Shakari, but ultimately it's not the god of Shakari. That's Star Trek V. So Star Trek VI, let's see, I think it was the Undiscovered Country. That begins with the explosion of the Klingon moon. I believe it's Praxis, the Klingon moon, at their homeworld. Anyway, Ambassador Spock, he kind of puts Captain Kirk and the Enterprise crew on the spot, because Ambassador Spock chooses Captain Kirk and the Enterprise to be the ones to escort the Klingon flagship Kronos 1 and Chancellor Gorkon to the peace talks. It's discovered that the explosion on Praxis means that the atmosphere on the Klingon homeworld will be ripped away after 50 years, and it'll be laid waste. So, in their haste, they're looking to make peace. They want to become peaceful with the Federation, and that's the basis of the movie. But there's not, like in real life, there are those that do not want peace, whether it's on the Federation side or the Klingon side. So what happens ultimately is Chancellor Gorkon's flagship, Kronos 1, is ambushed, and it appears that the Enterprise fires the shot, but it does not. And it's ultimately revealed that General Kang, or Chang, he has the prototype of the Klingon bird of prey that can actually fire while cloaked. And at the end, he meets his by getting destroyed by the Enterprise and by the Excelsior, who is commanded by Captain Ikara Sulu. But the Chancellor is assassinated. After the Kronos 1 is attacked, two humanoids beam over in Starfleet uniforms, and they assassinate the Chancellor. Captain Kirk and, Dr. McCoy, they transfer over to try to help. And ultimately, the Chancellor dies, and they're arrested. They stand before the Klingon Council, where they're condemned, and they end up going to prison camp. I think it's Rurapente. I hope I got that right. I think it's Rurapente. Ultimately, they get out. The Enterprise rescues them, and they find that there is a plot to assassinate the leader of the Federation, just like they did for the Klingon Empire. Anyway, it's a good movie, and that's what we see the Enterprise A. Now that's pretty much it. The end of Star Trek 4, Star Trek 5, and Star Trek 6. Star Trek 7, we're introduced to the Enterprise B. So the Constitution class starships is gone, and they go over to the Excelsior class starships, and that's when we are introduced to the NCC-1701-B. Okay, all that rambling, I want to show you guys this ship, the Enterprise A. The box art, as usual, with the Starship Legends. You've got Captain Kirk on the front, and you've got the clear plastic where you can see the ship, and you can see all of the features and sound effects. I'll put up a lot of pictures so you guys can pause the video and check them out. The sides, pretty straightforward. It says Authentic Sounds. Showing you the back, it's got a beautiful picture of the Enterprise A. Nice depiction. Diamond Select, ART Asylum. A little bit of information for you. Following the destruction of the Starship Enterprise, a new ship, the NCC-1701-A, was commissioned in 2286 and named in honor of the legendary ship and its heroic crew. This new Enterprise, commanded once again by James T. Kirk, traveled to the center of the galaxy and made first contact with the godlike being that lived there. The ship then battled and defeated an experimental bird of prey controlled by rogue elements within the Klingon Empire. Again, that's General Chang, making a lasting peace possible between the Empire and the Federation. While its time in service was relatively short, the starship's heroic exploits helped ensure that the history would never forget the name Enterprise. The ship itself is 304 meters. It has 21 decks, a crew of 510, and a maximum speed of warp 9.2. So that all being said, notice it didn't say anything about being the Yorktown on this, but polar lights on the 1350 scale model of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701-A, the back of the box and the information does mention that the Yorktown was converted to the Enterprise to make the A. So that being said, let me go ahead and we'll take it out of the box and I'll set it up for you. Okay, so I took it out of the box for you, and it does come with a couple of things. The bottom, the battery compartment, let me show you, it comes with one you can swap out for this one. That's got the little hole, and you can put the stand, the little ball that goes into the hole, and it's got the shark fin kind of stand that fits into the slot on the Delta logo. I'm not a big fan of these. I don't know, you figure all the work that goes into these models and all the detail, it's kind of flimsy for the stand. The concept is good, but the little ball, half the time I can't get it to fit in, and I don't want to force it, so we'll put this aside just to show you, though, it does come with the stand. And this is the alternate bottom that you can swap out if you're going to use the stand. The ship itself does have some nice detail on it. You can see the Aztecing bridge area. I don't know if you can see that on the side. A little United Federation of Planets, USS Enterprise. Beautiful ship. I'll show you the other side. And let's go ahead and we'll demonstrate. When you first, as with all the Diamond Selects, when you first get it, the bottom, the little switch is going to be in try-me mode. And what you can do is you can either switch it off or you can switch it to play. So, I put it into play, so it's not only in try-me mode anymore, so.
My friends, we've come home.
You remember that's what I was telling you that Captain Kirk says once he sees the Enterprise A for the first time.
What's the matter, Jim? I miss my old chair.
That was pretty amusing. He sits in his chair and he's looking uncomfortable, and after he says he misses his old chair, Mr. Spock kind of gives him a, oh, kind of look.
Engine room, we'll need all the power you can muster, mister. Let's see what she's got. Kirk just got me. Lower shields. As captain, I am responsible for the conduct of the crew under my command. Send to Commander Enterprise. We stand ready to assist you. Captain Sulu, USS Excelsior.
Starfleet is screaming for us to return to port.
And that's when they want the Enterprise to be decommissioned.
We must respond personally. A universal translator will be recognized.
As of course they're looking through the Klingon dictionary.
Captain! She's packing quite a lot of shield weakening! Where's that damn torpedo? He's ready, Jim! Lock it on!
And that's when he goes, fire! And it shoots, the missile finds General Chang's ship, and that's just wonderful.
Fire! Once again, we've saved civilization as we know it.
If I were human, I believe my response would be, go to hell.
Second star to the right, and straight on to the morning. My friends, we've come home.
So, there's got quite a few, sayings and sound effects. When you push and hold the bridge down, you can put the lights on. And I'll show you the lights. Pretty nice ship all in all. The Enterprise A, you can see the detailing. And I'll put up plenty of pictures. You can see I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. All the detail. The impulse engines, the impulse crystal. The nacelles. The nacelle pylons have the S tacking on it as well. I don't know if you can see that. The main hull. Let me show you the shuttle bay. And it does come with paperwork. Let me show you again, I'll put all kinds of pictures up for you. I gotta open it first, so give me 1 second. This would be the instruction sheet. For the batteries, and again I'll put up all kinds of photos. If you want to pause it, you can check it out. Yep, battery placement. Starship Legends, NCC-1701-A, electronic starship. Shows you the batteries, the compartment. Also shows you the stand and how to fix it and put it together and display. Again, I'm not a fan of the stand because I can never get it to stay, and I just don't want to force the ball into the little hole because I just don't want to break it. It's one side, so that's what comes with it. It comes with the stand, and it comes with the bottom panel that you can swap out, as well as the stand itself, the ship itself, and all the detail. You can see it's really nice. And this is the USS Enterprise NCC-1701-A.
We've come home.
Formerly the USS Yorktown. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys really soon with another Star Trek related goodie. Till then, live long and prosper.